know thee, my God, O King, and I will bless thy name forever and ever. Every day will I bless thee, and I will praise thy name forever and ever. Great is the I am, and greatly to be praised, and his greatness is unsearchable. One generation shall praise thy works to another, and shall declare thy mighty acts. I will speak of the glorious honor of thy majesty and of thy wondrous works. And men shall speak of the might of thy terrible acts, and I will declare thy greatness. They shall abundantly utter the memory of thy great goodness, and shall sing of thy righteousness. The I am is gracious, full of compassion, slow to anger, and great of mercy. The Most High is good to all. His tender mercies are over all his works. All thy works shall praise thee, O Yahweh, and thy saints shall bless thee. They shall speak of the glory of thy kingdom and talk of thy power, to make known to the sons of men his mighty acts and the glorious majesty of his kingdom. Thy kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and thy dominion endureth throughout all generations. The I am upholdeth all that fall, and raises up all those that be bowed down. The eyes of all wait upon thee, and thou givest them their meat in due season. Thou openest thy hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing. The I am is righteous in all his ways, and holy in all his works. The I am is nigh unto them that call upon him, to all that call upon him in truth. He will fulfill the desires of them that fear him. He also will hear their cry and will save them. The I am preserveth all them that love him, but all the wicked will he destroy. My mouth shall speak in praise of the I am, and let all flesh bless his holy name forever and ever. Psalms chapter 145. Deliver me from all evil spirits that have swayed the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forever. Yes, Jubilee chapter 12 and verse 20. Oh, yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. All praises to the Most High. We thank God. And we thank the Most High for those of you that have been with us since the beginning, and those of you that have been with us here and there's about, and those of you that have just subscribed. And we thank God for you. And those of you who are about to subscribe, and even those viewers, we call those things that are not as though they are. All praises to the Most High. Yes, you're walking Mr. Clay. Yes, I am Mr. Clay. And we're in the second chapter of Chronicles. Second chapter of Chronicles chapter 23 as you prepare. Yes, Second Chronicles chapter 23. As we've been reading how Israel, through their kings, without a king, they had a problem. They were led by what they thought was right in their own eyes, instead of leaning onto the commandments, statutes, ordinances of the Most High. Then Israel comes, and then God gives them a king because they asked for one. In other words, he's going to guide us. He's going to lead us. And the same thing happens regardless. Whether the king goes up and serves God, Israel comes up. When the king goes down, Israel goes down. And all these things have happened like a wave, all the way even to permanent captivity. This is what's happened. They've been in captivity to captivity. Canaanite, Philistines, Egyptians, all these other things. God is looking for somebody, a group of people. He's looking for some people scattered all over the earth. He's looking for them, a seed that comes from Eve and Abram. Because Abram was where he made the covenant. He made them with Abram. He had a covenant with Noah and his sons. And they taught their children as their father taught them. But yet their children turned away from God, and God, according to the book of Jasher and Jubilees, he turned them over to evil spirits that shall rule over them, to keep them away from the ones he have chosen to serve him. And each time he gets through, he finds a seed that will serve him, a seed that will not waver, a seed that will be steadfast, a seed planted like the trees by the rivers of water. A seed that will meditate on his law, statutes, and commandments day and night, that they might be successful. And that seed he anoints and sanctifies. And at the end of the life, and when that time of that seed shall turn back. This is the seed of Noah through Abram, through Jacob, running through. His anointed shall come back. His Christ shall come back. See, these are English words you're dealing with. You have to find out, what does Christ mean, anointed, right? Anybody can be anointed if they follow what God. You can be anointed in other things too. You can be anointed of the Satans. But anybody anointed of the Most High is a Christ. See, many of us, we don't get it. We don't get it. There have been many Mashiachs. I mean, you can name them from the books of Judges all the way to Malachi, and even in the Apocrypha. You can see all the Christ, and you can see all the Messiahs. They saved them. Except for this one man. What have he saved you from? You have to hope in the by and by. All these saviors saved them in the situation they were in. God have empowered them or some kind of way used them to give confidence to the children of Israel, the children of Jacob. But yet now we have this Jesus who raised from the dead. That's nothing new. He couldn't raise himself from the dead. He was just a man. And if he did raise from the dead, it was God that raised him. But this person, they have given a name. I do not deny there was somebody that existed then. And you can see where you had some, they taken their life and they borrowed from different portions of, all the way from the book of Enoch to the book of Malachi, different portions. And so, I mean, this can only be the work of spirits through the minds of men. But the fact is that it's to sway the minds of men. God done this, but he's going to get that seed that he wants. He's going to get that seed. Will it be you? We don't know. That seed that shall look for God's approval. That seed that shall seek to please God and not men. Because most organizations, these are men that try to seek the approval of people. You know, as you would notice that most of the people in the word of the Most High, they did not seek, even women, they did not seek the approval of men, nor their kings. But whatever God says, that they did. See, now we're into the age where Christianity and all these other religions, offshoots of the old, what we call the Old Testament, have instituted the acceptance of men. It doesn't matter about men. It doesn't matter about nations or how dressed up they are with their armaments. You have one nation want to put $1 trillion on their armament. That's not going to defeat God. It's going to make the people that make the bullets and band-aids and stuff rich. But it's not going to defeat God. You've noticed in most governments, the oligarchs or the companies are running the government anyway. This is the weakness of governments, except for a few. They don't run, to my knowledge, China. They don't run Russia. And Burkina Faso, they do not run it either. No oligarchs, no rich people, no corporations. They don't run it. The government run them. And the rules, regulations that they should have to follow. Now, let us continue. We're in the book of 2 Chronicles Chapter 23. And in the 7th year of Jehoiada strengthened himself and took captains of hundreds, Azariah the son of Jehoram, and Ishmael the son of Jehonan, and Azariah the son of Obed, and Manasseh the son of Adai, and Elisaphat the son of Zictri into covenant with him. They had an agreement. And they went about in Judah and gathered the Levites out of all the cities of Judah. Now you have to realize, Jehoiada, he strengthened himself. He strengthened himself and took captains. And he took these captains and says, go about, we got to establish this thing back again. This is going up again. And they went about Judah and they gathered the Levites. This is whom God has designated. Out of the cities of Judah and the chief of the fathers of Israel, and they came to Jerusalem. These people were to follow the commandments, statutes, ordinances of the Most High and minister to the Most High. Yes, in truth. And all the congregations made a covenant with the king in the house of God, and he said unto them, behold, the king's son shall reign, as the I Am had said of the sons of David. He was talking about the hidden king in chapter 22, which the woman hid in the temple. Okay, let's continue. And this is the thing ye shall do. A third part of you entering on the Sabbath of the priest and of the Levites shall be porters at the door. You're gonna watch the doors. This is Old English. You have to realize that. You have to look up the word porters. Like porters on a train. They guard the doors of the train. All aboard. Okay. And a third part shall be at the king's house, and a third part at the gate of the foundation, and all the people shall be in the courts of the house of the I Am. On the Sabbath, yes, praising and worshiping the Most High. Let none come into the house of the I Am save the priest, for it is their right because of their position with the Most High. They was not appointed by many men. And they that minister of the Levites, they shall go in, for they are holy, but all the people shall keep the watch of the I Am. And the Levites shall compass the king round about, and every man with his weapons in his hands, and whosoever else cometh into the house shall be put to death. But be ye with the king when he cometh in, and when he goeth out. So the Levites and all Judah did according to all the things that Jehoiada the priest commanded, and took every man his men that were come in on the Sabbath, or Sabbath, with them that were to go out on the Sabbath, for Jehoiada the priest dismissed not the courses. In other words, they were doing what they were called to do on the Sabbath. Moreover, Jehoiada the priest delivered to the captains of 100 spears and bucklers and shields that had been King David's, which were in the house of the I Am. Now these things were very lethal. And he set all the people, every man having his weapon in his hand, from the right side of the temple to the left side of the temple, along by the altar of the temple by the king round about. Then they brought out the king's son and put upon him the crown, and gave him the testimony, and made him king. And Jehoiada and his sons anointed him and said, God save the king. It's the same thing. It's the old English way of doing things, but the fact is, this was before Europe in its glory, should they say, even existed. These were ancient times. And Athaliah, this wicked woman, heard the noise of the people running and praising the king. She said to the people into the house of the I Am. And she looked, and behold, the king stood at his pillar. Oh, I missed somebody. This wicked woman, Athaliah, she missed this baby who grew up in the temple. Now because he grew up in the temple, he had to learn the way of the Levites and the commandments, statutes, and ordinances of the Most High. That way he was able, according to that guideline, to rule and govern the people. Yes. All praises to the Most High. And the princes of the trumpets by the king, and all the people of the land rejoiced and sounded with the trumpets, also the singers with instruments of music, and such as taught to sing praise. Then Athaliah rent her clothes. Oh, I can't take this. And said, treason, treason. In other words, she's so used to being in power because her son was dead and she was ruling because of her son. This is how a woman, through deceptiveness, reigned over Judah. But it gets worse, as we will later see. Now, for the priest said, slay her not in the house of the Iam. So they laid hands on her, and when she was come to the entering of the horse gate by the king's house, they slew her there. In other words, you wicked, confused woman, you no longer reign over us. Doesn't matter you a woman, you just wicked, evil. And because of that, the men that follow her because of her son. So they laid hands on her. And when she was come out to enter the host gate, they slew her. And Jehoiada made a covenant between him and between all the people and between the king, and that they should be the Iam's people. This was to be. This is the kingdom of the Iam. The children of Jacob and all the land of Israel and the 10 tribes of Israel were not religious. It was a kingdom of the Most High on earth. But the people didn't get the memo. They didn't understand this. We have to understand this when God begins to gather his people together, that we are the government. We will be the Israel. We would be those who are the government of the Most High, the kingdom of the Most High on earth. There's a kingdom in heaven of spirits, but there's a kingdom on earth that God is trying to gather and perfect. We don't get that. Even in the book of Jasher, it talks about how that those feast days and all those things that we have, many of them are even observed in the realm of the Most High by the angels or by the spirits of the Most High. There's no angels, spirits, same thing. The angels just was sent with a message. But there are spirits of God. Your Revelation says 7 spirits of God. So what? All spirits are spirits of God until they fall. Then they're still spirits of God because God still uses them, whether he uses them for evil, to chastise the children of his people, that they might come back into their rightful place within the agreement of their ancestors, even the law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances of the Most High. See, people don't get this. You think you call the Hebrew Israelite a religion. It's not a religion. It's the kingdom of the Most High on earth. This is why we look to God for the now. It's just like you talk about Islam and all these other religions. No. Our true king is the Most High, even the creator of all things. And he does not seek to separate us from the other earth, but he wants to we're not to join with them, but they are to join with us. This is what God is saying. Whether you be a stranger or whether you have to join with Israel. You have no separate say. You have no preachers, no pastors. The Levitical priesthood is the preachers and pastors. They are the ones that call upon the name of the Most High. Yes, a man can teach his house or maybe a group of people here and there, but he still has to come and be with the children of the Most High when God gathers all his people together. You're not just no lone thing like Irania in South Africa. You're just not going to be that way and hate. You call yourself religious, but you hate everybody around you. No, it's not. It doesn't work like that. This is the kingdom of the Most High, not religion. No, not at all. Let's continue. 18. Also, Jehoiada appointed the officers of the house of the Iam by the hand of the priests of the Levites. See? There we go again. Whom David had distributed in the house of the Iam to offer burnt offerings of the Iam, as it is written in the law of Moses. It's not the law of Moses, it's the law of the Most High, handed to Moses. This is just the way they put it. But either way, with rejoicing and with singing, as it was ordained by David. David restored those things, being the king. The people followed the king. Whatever he said goes. Just like Babylon. Whatever he said went. Except for the children of the kingdom of the Most High did not follow those things of the king. We don't follow those things of Christianity. We don't follow those things of other religions or state religions or pagan religions. We don't follow those, but we follow commandments, statutes, and ordinances of the Most High, knowing that eventually our King will come. We ain't talking about no Isis, no Jesus, no Yahushua, no Yahusha, whatever. You've been bamboozled. You might say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. This is what, I don't care what Matthew says. What does the law, commandments, statutes, and ordinances say? I don't care what Revelations say. What did the prophets say? You've been pushed backwards, bent over, stooped down. God can give you strength to come out of these pagan religions. God shares his glory neither himself with no man. God does not have to lay with his creation, for he is the creator. He made it, and he said, multiply after your kind, and that's it. And forbid any spirit to have copulation or some type of way that they have copulated and conceived with a woman, like they did in the book of Genesis. See, most of you don't read the other books, but the book of Genesis, I'll use that. Now, he says, now they burnt, as it is written in the law, Moses would be rejoicing and singing as it was ordained by David, King David. And he set the porters at the gates of the house of the I Am, that none which were unclean in anything should enter in. If they cannot obey a king, why can't they obey the Creator, who is the King of all the universe? All the universe. Anything eternal, for he is the eternal. Your mind can never fathom, and it's foolery to even try to figure out where God came from. Even though many will say, oh, God was made up by men. No. This is men that can't figure out how God came. They're trying to figure God out. Understand and know the Most High. I say that over and over again, yes, and I'm continue doing it. Understand and know him through his laws, commandments, statutes, and ordinances, and even his prophets. Who he is, the historical account, who he is, how he thinks of it, how he will react to certain things, why you get sick, why you have diseases, why are things coming upon you that shouldn't. Your king is all in all. Man, we are nothing. Now, verse 19, and he set porters at the gates of the house of the I Am, that none which were unclean in anything should enter in. He took the captains of hundreds and the nobles, the people that were sort of rich or whatever, and the governors of the people and all the people of the land, and brought down the king from the house of the I Am, and they came through the high gate into the king's house and set the king upon the throne of the kingdom. Now, this king was already prepared. All this was set up by the Most High. This little boy, he grew up in the temple. He learned the way of the Most High by growing up in the temple through watching the Levites teach their children how to service the Most High, how to do things according to the Most High's pleasure. Yes. And all the people, in verse 21, of the land rejoiced, and the city was quiet after that they had slain Athaliah with the sword. They rejoiced after a man this time. A man whom had to please God. See, this is how God worked it out. Okay, you want a king. I'm going to give you a king, but king, you're going to have to please me. You're going to have to do the thing I say do. These backwards people that walk by sight and not confidence in me, then you're going to have to do it. Now, many of you put your pastors and your leaders in place of the Most High. And they're just as backwards, by miles, leagues. Now, this is what we have to do. And we also read how I think I skipped 17, how all the people went into the house of Baal and break it down. This is what they were worshiping. And his images and slew Matted. See, now we still be with those people that eat pork, and they want to force their little ribs and riblets and ribeyes, or not ribeyes, but riblets and all their chicken and all that stuff upon you. Everybody's doing it. Why can't we? They ain't getting sick like we got. What did God say? If you want to follow God, you follow God. If you want to follow men, follow men. As you will, you do. But be sure, you will have to answer to the Most High according to the measure that he put forth, given unto Moses. And if we do those things, we will have peace.
Walk with me.